of that breakwater triggered protests from residents at Muthalapozhi harbour. The protests further escalated during the visits of Minister V Sivankutty, Antony, Raju and Anil to that place. Now, the Latin Archdiocese Vicar General Fr Eugene Pereira, who was there during the time of the protest, has also been booked by the police for allegedly giving instruction to block the ministers from visiting the families. Now, there was a war of words between both Father Eugene Pereira as that of the government officials as well as the ministers, and later what we come to know is that a case has been booked against Father Eugene Pereira, and this has led to a series of protests from the representatives of the Latin Church. Now, this is not the first time that the Latin Church and the LDF government has been seeing eye to eye. This is the second time, especially after the Virinyam incident, where this protest has in fact seen, it is also being speculated that there would be protests this coming Sunday for the case being booked against Father Eugene. Let's in fact listen into what exactly happened at the Muthalapozhi and the boat tragedy that happened over there that led to the consequent series of events.
The body of one Suresh alias Biju Stephen is required right now, and since there is a chance for more bodies, the recovery operations will be continued after a short break. They will need a short break. The Navy team will continue in the afternoon till daylight. Navy and the local people, local fishermen who are they also assisted the operation.
What about the scuba divers?
Scuba divers will assisted by the local people. 2 cases registered for road blockage and for one for road blocking strike, and the another against obstructing ministers.
It's against that father.
Yeah. Okay. Eugene Pereira.
Well, to speak more about it, we are joined in by political analyst Sebastian Paul and also author and writer Rahul Ishwar. Rahul and Sebastian Paul, welcome to the show. We are taking up with this issue with Father Eugene, also will be joining us in a short while. But let me start off with Sebastian Paul. Now, there is an allegation that the LDF government is now trying to silence anyone who raises their voice against the government, and people in the Latin Church are also saying that this case against Father Eugene Pereira, especially when trying to find out a solution for the incident that happened at the Muthalapozhi harbour, is something on those lines, that they don't want any criticism to be heard. The ministers were there. When questioned, the ministers in fact had altercations with the Latin believers there, and this resulted in this. What exactly is the situation as we see it, Sebastian Paul? What exactly is actually happening when it comes to ministers being questioned? Because as far as we remember, the LDF was the first that will jump into a protest when it's in the opposition, but when it is in the ruling, it looks like it has a little difficulty in accepting criticism.
It is not a question of suppressing protest or dissent. On that day, what happened there was that a fishing boat was capsized and some fishermen were missing. And naturally, the people means the very sensitive people in the coastal area, fishermen, they were agitated. Monsignor Eugene Pereira, being a prominent Catholic priest in the Latin Catholic community, he is an influential person and he's a powerful person also. So he could have averted a situation where ministers, 3 or 4 ministers of the government who were visiting that place, they were blocked by the agitating mob. But Monsignor did nothing. Instead, the case is that he instigated the mob to block the ministers. That is a very, very, very serious situation. And naturally, the police had to register a case against Monsignor. This is the second time after the Virinyam protest that the Latin Catholic Church, especially in Trivandrum, is directly confronting the government. So naturally, it may be termed as a confrontation between the LDF or the LDF government and the Latin Catholic Church. But it is not unfair to term or to describe this thing as such. It was a very serious situation there. The ministers were blocked by a violent mob. If the police did not resist it, something untoward might have happened there. So naturally, as leader in that situation, the person who was leading or instigating the mob, Eugene Pereira has to face the legal consequences, and that is why a case is being registered there.
Hello.
But I am not expressing an opinion on that matter, and I am not particular that the case should be pursued further, and the Monsignor should face the trial. All those things may become unnecessary. The case itself may become infructuous after a few days.
Get in fact Rahul Ishwar into this. Rahul Ishwar, they say that it is, there was emotional issue that was also there, and that the question over here is about whether this kind of an issue, when it happens, whether it is the right way to protest or not, or to in fact face the law. When you ask that question, is the big question that we are asking. What do you think about it? What is your assessment of what actually happened over there? Is it wrong that someone says that you need to go ahead and protest, and then the interpretation of what exactly happened as a series of events over there?
With due respect to Sebastian Paul sir, who is a very senior person we all respect, but let me express my humble disagreement with him. Father Eugene Pereira is one of the most known faces of the Catholic community, especially the Latin Catholic community, and he has been a very vibrant leader. And unfortunately, LDF government has been increasingly becoming intolerant to all the dissent and criticism that they have been facing, may it be on media, may it be on digital media, may it be on civil society. Right now, what happened, as Sebastian Paul sir was saying, some unfortunate incident happened, the boat capsized, people were missing. Naturally, people will be agitated. See, it is very sad that we call them the agitated mob, because these are the same fishermen or their community who saved us all, during the floods, 2018 floods. They were at the forefront of all the rescue operations, and they did, as much as army or perhaps more than all our establishment could. So, these people naturally will be agitated. When our group members or family members are dead, people will naturally be sad and agitated. Yes, they were protesting, but I doubt whether it was anything like a riot or anything even called agitation. The ministers have a responsibility to be patient listeners, take in that particular anger. That is what people's representatives are for. Nobody is going to physically attack them, nobody is going to physically assault them. I totally differ with that particular assessment. Yes, people were naturally sad, they were angry to an extent, and that happens in democracy, because they have every right to get angry. One may not agree with all the Latin Catholic churches' positions on either Vinyam or Adani or Kudangulam. Yes, we can all have nuanced differences, but filing a case as a tactic of intimidation, that is the core issue here. As Paul sir was saying, nobody is going to pursue this case, but it is something like a confrontation. It is something like a bad confrontation from the part of government to file a case with such a senior cleric, Father Eugene Pereira, so that they will be intimidated, they will be threatened. And slapping a case on a senior cleric, may he be Hindu, Christian, Muslim, or any religious figure, is very unfortunate, because we have Kerala and India, we have a culture of respecting all the faith figures with that sanctity, and it is unfortunate that LDF government has taken a confrontational path. Rather, ministers should be the people who are taking a Gandhian path, a path of consensus, a path of conciliation. But rather, ministers can't expect people to be all happy, smiley, hunky and tory when such an unfortunate thing happened. So Sivankutty sir, the leaders, they should have been more patient, they should have shown the way, they should have led by example, and calming the people. That's the right way to go ahead. People will naturally be sad and they will have their own protest. And it is unfortunate that our own minister, I belong to his constituency, Antony, Raju sir or Sivankutty sir, should have shown more statesmanly attitude, should have shown the higher status, should have put their better self ahead of such stand, and not be angry and agitated. See, normal people getting angry is acceptable in democracy, but ministers being more patient is the norm. And I hope ministers, and especially LDF government, will have a change in their basic paradigm and positioning. They have been assertive and over-aggressive over the past many months due to very many reasons. This is a very wrong attitude that they are having. I believe it's a time for their own introspection to have a better posture, a better statesmanly attitude.
Well, we'll take that part of it. In fact, having a statement-any attitude, as you were saying. But the issue over here is also about what is happening at Muthalapozhi port. Several people have been coming and saying that the construction of the groin is what is leading to these series of accidents. There seems to be some kind of unscientific manner in which it is being constructed. There have been several deaths, especially at the opening part of that breakwater system, and this is something that's been going on. Of course, people are going to be agitated when they're not going to have any kind of a response, Sebastian Paul. And over here, you had the ministers being magnanimous enough to actually come and visit the family, speak to them. But why is it that they can't take that point of criticism? Why is it that when we talk about the construction of that groin, why is it that we are talking about, unable to understand what is so unscientific about it? There is no study that has been put forward whether it is constructed properly or not. So many accidents. This is the latest. There is a series of accidents and deaths have been reported from that particular portion of the ground. So it looks like from the outside when we look, it looks like the LDF is not able to take criticism at all. And the Latin Church has been a votary of the LDF also. It is a significant portion of them do vote for the LDF. But then why is it that even your own votary is being upset? So whose interest is being protected?
No, I agree with you to a certain extent. The Kerala sea coast is most vulnerable, especially during the monsoon season. And the worst sufferers are the fishermen who has to go to the sea for fishing. And everywhere the demand is there to protect the coast from the sea. And the work is going on in several parts of the state in right earnest. So when 4 of the fishermen were missing in the sea, it is only natural for the people, that means people means fisher folk, who are more sensitive than other people. They will become agitated. And it is the duty of the ministers. Ministers means who represent those constituencies, Antony, Raju, as well as Sivankutty. They were blocked by the mob, and that also is natural, because in such situations, they will try to register their protest against the ministers in so many ways. But the people, that does not mean that the government is against all sorts of protest. The government is bound to suppress protest by using police force. That type of interpretation is most unfortunate. The given situation, the police had to intervene in the matter, and naturally they will register a case. And as I said earlier, it is not fair on the part of the government or the police, the prosecution, to continue with the case. And it will be better if the government withdraw that case at the earliest.
But the fact remains is that any kind of a question that is asked, there are a lot of cases that are being put out. There are cases against opposition leaders, there are cases against religious leaders. Anyone who questions, there are only cases, and that is the worrying part of it. Why is it that there is a point of fact that there is no way that there can be democratic dissent? Rahul Ishwar, what is it that is worrying the CPM?
See, maybe CPM has their own positions and ideologies. We respect that, even though I strongly differ with them. But any party being in the government, they are government first and not the party. There should be a tone of reconciliation. We have a lot of diversity. There are various communities, their own sensitivities. I personally saw that in Sabarimala. I was jailed for almost 2 to 3 weeks, and I was arrested 5 times for Sabarimala protests. So we all know the whole idea of using police to muscle dissent or muscle diversity of viewpoints is not right. And that, Hindi mein kehte hain ki wo unko shobha nahi dete. That won't give any kind of positive to the government. So that's the reason why government should be more statesmanly. They should have a tone of reconciliation. They should be able to accept, they should be able to stomach all the people's protest. And I humbly differ with the whole usage of the word mob itself. You can call them community, you can call them crowd, you can call them the group, but calling such a community who has been instrumental and being celebrated in the past few years as saviors of Kerala, that same community being branded as angry mob is very unfortunate. That's the reason reason why government should have the large-heartedness. Government should be able to stomach in. It is very natural to people to do a sociological catharsis, if I can use that word. People are natural when they see people in power, when they people who they believe can make a change. There is a natural outpouring of their emotion. There is a catharsis happening. So ministers should be able to take that in a really good manner. Beyond politics, I remember A.K. Antony sir once. I think he was going to Marad or something where people were abusing him, but he was patiently listening to entire thing, saying that let them vent out their anger on me. That is the kind of attitude that we should have. It is not that there is any personal anger against them, but as you rightly said, there has been criticism for a long while regarding the unscientific construction. People have lost their life. People have been damaged. So if somebody from our family is having such a tragedy, naturally there will be a reaction from our side. So if someone in authority listens to it, it is a kind of internalization. They take it out so that they feel the authorities have understood. That kind of a posturing, that kind of an attitude has been missing. And I dare say there has been a tinge of arrogance growing in left government for a particular period of time. Maybe they feel Congress is not strong enough, BJP is not even in the picture. They may even get a third time. That might be the arrogance that's they're having. But this kind of attitude is not good for democracy. Any party, whether they be right, left or center, is not right. I hope they withdraw the case against Father Eugene Pereira. They take into confidence the fisherman community. They talk to them. They find solutions. They hear out the pain. They let them vent out their pain and sadness. If not to authorities and government, we all believe in the idea of the parent state. If not to the parent state of government, who else they can show their emotions to? So that kind of attitude is there, should be there, and nobody is personally blaming the ministers. Ministers, as we all know, they cannot be personally blamed, but the system is to be blamed, and system doesn't have a face, system doesn't have a body. So those who have a body and face are the ministers. It's natural that they will redirect their emotions at the ministers, and ministers should be magnanimous enough to stomach it.
Well, you're saying magnanimous is enough, but the incident over there has resulted in... but Sebastian Paul, do you think this will result in a lot of long-term damage when it comes to the coastal community? Already you have Virinium, where the coastal community has been against the government over it, and we've seen the kind of protests that have happened. But now with this, it is only reinforcing their belief that LDF is not with them. So do you think that the LDF is going to face a complete erosion when it comes to the support from the coastal communities? Or am I reading it too early?
It is correct to a certain extent. There is erosion. Erosion is a term which we use in the context of the sea erosion. Likewise, there is an erosion in the good relations or faith of the people in this LDF. Alienation, especially in the Trivandrum area, the southern part of Kerala, which the LDF may not be able to afford at the time of election. So some urgent measures have to be taken to repair the situation, to regain the confidence of the people. To regain the confidence of the people means the best way is to address their grievance, to ensure their safety, the safety of the coast and safety of the fishermen who are going to sea for their livelihood. And with that, as a gesture of goodwill, these cases can be withdrawn. And I fully agree with Mr. Rahul Ishwar when he says that the government, especially the ministers, should be more magnanimous in dealing with the situation. But we know that this is the nature and position of governments everywhere. What is happening in Delhi? The latest instance is the case against Annie Raja. That also is a case against the protester. So that will happen everywhere. But a communist-led government in Kerala should be more, they should act in a more exemplary manner, setting a good example for other parties and governments, how the government should function in a democratic system.
Well, in fact, we have Father Eugene Pereira who joins us on the phone line right now. Father, what exactly happened when Ministers Sivankutty and others were there? When you confronted them, what exactly was this thing? Can you explain from your side of the story? We want to just understand what exactly happened at that time.
See, whenever disasters and tragedies happen, not only in the sea coast and the sea, but also in the public where there is problems, we normally attend the issues. And having learned on 10th morning that 4 fishermen venturing into fishing early in the morning at 4 o'clock, their boats were capsized and 4 fishermen were missing. One of the fishermen, due to his very skillful swimming ability, he was swimming to the shore. Meanwhile, a boat from the sea was coming to the shore and they picked him up. But on the way to the hospital, that man died. And having learned this tragic event, normally the church attends to the people, whichever be the community we attend to. And the Archbishop and myself was going to the spot, to the place where the incident has occurred, so that we meet the people who are in grievance, who are in pain and agony. That was the intention behind our going. And also we wanted to dialogue with the officials of the government, how best we make the rescue operation so that the bodies missing could be recovered. But as Archbishop and myself were getting out of the car, I saw a crowd there. I was just moving to the crowd. As I was moving to the crowd, the education minister was rushing from the crowd outside. His face was found very furious. And as soon as he met me, saw me, he was shouting that don't make show. And I was completely stunned and silent. Then the ministers left the place. And I was discussing with the women and the fishermen there. They told that about 20-30 minutes ahead of our arrival, they have come and were discussing with the people. And they were actually abusing the women. They were abusing the fishermen. Actually, the fishermen who were in agony and pain, definitely they might have been emotional. But in 2-3 minutes, they can be brought to calmness. But without listening to their grievances and their pain and agony, these people were shouting at them and also saying that don't make show of the situation. So they have actually made a bad show of themselves and they were rushing back. And as soon as they were rushing back, they saw me and they made the same shouting at me saying that don't make show of. And they went away. And they are telling that I have made some noise that there was police in the vicinity. The police were there and the media people were there. If any such incident happens, definitely the media would move to that. Also the police would move to that. But there was no such thing. When we moved to the spot where the accident has happened, we went there. We saw the nets of the fishermen on the breakwater, and the sea was a bit rough, and there was no proper rescue operation activities planned yet. I saw a helicopter flying in the air. Then we wanted to go and visit the people, the families who are in grievance, who are in pain. Archbishop and myself visited all the 4 houses. And we returned naturally back to our house. Actually, once the ministers lost their temper and they lost the intervention with the people, they came and planned that let the media be called, and also afterwards, about 6 o'clock or so, I think, the police made a charge against me. In fact, I did nothing. So I am not very tensed about that thing. But the point is this. We have been repeatedly asking the government, and in 2018, I think the then Fisheries Minister, Muthalapozhi told us that she is going to call an international tender to rectify the unscientific construction. But what happened was that after 4 months, all of a sudden the Fisheries Minister and the local MLA called us to the Secretariat for a discussion. And the discussion was to pave way for the barge movement of the Adani port. Adani wanted to carry the ropes through this port and they have almost removed the stones of almost 150 meters from there. That is also part of the cause for this sort of incidences. And the sediment movement in the place, they made an agreement with Adani that the sediment in the port will be removed by Adani through dredging. But nothing has happened. Last year itself, 12 fishermen died in 2 incidences. This year there was no much rough sea, but in this season, 10 accidents happened. Last week, 4 fishermen who were capsized by the rough sea, they, because of their fate of life, they moved to the inside the sea, and some boats from another village came and rescued them. And another boat capsized, that is still on the breakwater. It is lying there. So it has become a very recurring incident. And during our struggle in Vizhinjam, one of the promises was that they would solve the Pune Central Power and Water Research Center to study the matter and consult with the local fishermen and understand the issues, and they will rectify all what is possible.
But
In
Father,
fact, we have been saying that during
let me understand. You're saying that you were there in the crowd, and the minister just came straight at you and shouted at you. That is what you're saying.
No, I was not. We just arrived at the place only.
He just came to the place.
Just
Okay.
arrived at the place. Just arrived at the place, and we were just moving to know what is happening, what the dialogue is going on. That's all what happened.
Okay.
As I was moving.
And what did he tell you?
Minister was rushing. Pardon?
What did he tell you? He told you something, right? He told you.
He was very furious, and he told me, "Don't show off."
Don't show off. Okay.
As what he has. Yeah.
Don't show off.
Then he went away.
Okay.
Even
We have,
though-
in fact, Sebastian Paul. You come to a place where the tragedy is there, and the first thing that you do is that when people move, when there is commotion happening, the first thing that happens is that the minister tells that person that don't show off. That is what exactly happened, and then you have a case filed against him.
Yeah, a case is filed against him. It is very surprising. And
Surprising that a case is being filed of a
by-
person who went to see what was happening. Yes, Sebastian Paul, could you respond to it?
I have no case that the ministers were behaving in an exemplary or moderate manner. Something might have happened there, because the situation was so tense, because 4 fishermen were missing, and their families, their colleagues, neighbors, all were gathered there, and something untoward might have happened there. But the ministers should have controlled the situation with the help of Monsignor and the other priests, who are tremendous control over the people. But instead, what happened was a show off. It turned out to be a show off between the ministers and the clergy. That was the root cause for all these unfortunate incidents. And I am not justifying or welcoming the case registered against Monsignor Eugene Pereira, or I am not taking any sides. This is most unfortunate. In such situations, ministers, being representatives of the people, they should know how to behave and how to tackle a situation.
Tackle a situation. Rahul Ishwar, you heard what the Father Eugene had to say. Case being filed, and he had just come over there, but he's not directly involved. It's being said that they try to create a riot. I think that is the charge, Father, that has been put against you. Father Eugene, you can hear me?
I have.
What is the charge that has been put against you? When someone does the same thing to them, it seems that it is a little bit of too much to solve.
First of all, pranam to Father Eugene Pereira. All the best. May God, bless all your initiatives, because Father Eugene has been instrumental in channelizing the anchor and raising the voice for the marginalized community. So, first of all, respect for that. Second, as you rightly said, with due respect, the left government always believes in right standard. The left turns into right when they get power, and when they goes out of power, they again goes into the left liberal mode. That is very unfortunate. That's the reason why some people say governments anywhere, whether they belong to any party, X, Y, or Z, they will always have their own authority authoritarianism. And that authoritarianism is not good for a nation like India, where there is such diversity and vibrance. That's the reason why, these are very welcome statements by Sebastian Paul Sar too. Such kind of civil society opinion should come, and ministers should have a rethink and introspection regarding what they have done or what their posturing is. And I genuinely hope, as fast as possible, as a matter of, as a show of good faith, the case against Father Eugene Pereira, the case against others be withdrawn, and such kind of confidence building measures be there. And as the points raised by the clergy be addressed and the fishermen be addressed in a fast-paced manner. That's how you find a consensus. That's how you take things forward, not by being as over-assertive, not by being aggressive, not by being confrontational. Ministers or people's representatives cannot afford to be confrontational. They cannot play it to the gallery. They are responsible people who should have a moral responsibility, a constitutional obligation to reach out and heal. I hope that healing happens very soon.
Well, healing will happen very soon. But Father, what do you think? What is the next step that the church plans to take? What is the next step that you're planning to take after these charges have also put against you?
See, the case is not something new to me. During the Vivignam agitation also, we were very peaceful. I was very much proposing to the people that agitation should not go out of the hand. So my intervention not only in the sea coast, I have intervened in many issues, the anti-liquor movement in Kerala and also various other social issues I have been intervening. And my approach has been always peacekeeping and also resolve the problems. And we have been telling for years that this problem needs to be addressed, otherwise precious life will be lost. And I will be looking forward that permanent problem to the issue be made, and also the fishermen who are the citizens of the country have the right to safely journey and do fishing and make their livelihood. My approach would be to resolve the problem. See, immediately the problem could have been solved. There is Adani present. During the rough season, as the season was coming, they could have just drugged it in the mouth of the seaport. They did not do anything. So they have been giving way for any unfortunate events to happen, and when accidents happen, they become and they make show off and tell that somebody else has made show off. This sort of approach is not healthy, and this is not welcome in a democratic country like India. And I have not at all probed any people for such sort of unhealthy interventions at all.
So you actually said that you have not in fact provoked people at all for any of this kind of intervention, and you're saying that the cases have been anyway filed. But I heard that there is some kind of protest is being planned by the church on this.
See, the lot of larger public all over Kerala, there have been lot of resistance and protests coming in. Civil society organizations, Gandhian organizations, yesterday they have all come and told that nobody else would be siding and being with the marginalized fishermen community like, and therefore somebody has to raise voice for these people. And they wanted to silence me from intervening in such issues. That's all. What is the malicious intention? I am not succumbed by those malicious intentions. My concerns are very clear, and the public has realized that this cry for the poor people is genuine and sincere, and I will stand by that.
You will stand by that. So you are going to face this case. You're going to fight it out in the courts as well, isn't it?
Definitely. If it is needed, I will go to the court and fight it out. But I'm not part of any processes happening. There are a lot of solidarity in the messages coming to me. They are all with me, and they will be with me in fighting out this malicious processes.
Well, all right, Father, just stay with us. Let me go back to Rahul Ishwar. Rahul Ishwar, there's no other, once you start the process of law, you have no other option but to actually go through it. You have to prove the innocence from your part. So this tends to be some kind of harassment process as well, because at the end of the time, you still go through that process. Once you're accused, you have to go through that process to prove that you are innocent. So after that, the entire process itself becomes a sort of harassment and is used as a weapon. What do you think so?
Process should not become the punishment. Right now, unfortunately, in India, process has continuously being the punishment, and people have been either harassed, intimidated, threatened with the process, saying that you will have to go through all this because, and that's a sort of harassment. Government perfectly knows that these things are not going to be tried, and they know nobody is going to be convicted and punished for this. But they are using this as an intimidation tactic, and that is very unfortunate. See, that's the reason why they should always have their higher self. They should always have their nobler self dealing with such kind of things. Government and with due respect, law is not a technical thing. The law, law may be a very technical legal stuff, but the people who are applying law are not robots. They are not, they are not machines. They have a soul and heart of their own, so they can understand the context. See, a machine may not be able to understand a context, but people can understand a context. The context was that a very unfortunate thing has happened, and people have been demanding certain changes for the past very many months or even years. That has not been heard by the authorities. People naturally became angry. They went out their emotion. So, and right now they are again, agitating these people and again provoking these people in a very wrong way, using words like show off, using words like, they are trying to show off and their own thing. Naturally, people will be angry, and ministers are not supposed to use the tools of law as a mechanism for harassment. That's the reason why process should never become the punishment. I believe everyone in Kerala, beyond politics, should stand with Father Eugene Pereira and entire fisherman community, entire Latin Catholic Church at this time, and ministers should be more responsible, more sensitive, if I can use the word. Along with being responsible, ministers should be more sensitive and sensible to such situations, and it is up to them. And good critics like from even the left liberals, even the left community, there are very good critics who are seeing this with seeing this as an unfortunate posturing from the ministers. So I hope they will course correct and they will support people's fight for justice, and Father Eugene and others will get enough support from the civil society, I pray.
Well, before I go to Father Eugene, I'm going to Sebastian Paul, who has also been monitoring this. Sebastian Paul, you're one of those few people who have come out and said that there should be a introspection as to what exactly is happening. We spoke about the political fact of the coastal votes. We also spoke about it is being eroded to a large extent. But why is it? Why is it that some ministers do tend to not to listen, and especially when it comes to a second term, it seems that it has become quite a power-hungry situation, because there are several cases against, it's not only, activists like Eugene Pereira, Father Eugene Pereira, there are cases also against a lot of media professionals for bringing out stories. Some, of course, there are issues with their stories, but there are some who have actually got genuine stories about it, and there are cases filed against them. So the very process of law is becoming a kind of harassment that the government finds easy to silence its critics.
And it is not a question of arrogance on the part of the party or the ministers. As Mr. Rahul Ishwar has stated, everywhere the authority or the government will function only in such a manner. That is what is happening. The government may not encourage or receive in good spirit the criticism against them. I am a former MP of the supported by the CPM, and even now I am a CPM fellow traveler, if we can use that term. But criminal cases are slapped against me also for making certain public speeches in public places. The police will find several sections and provisions for instituting a case. That is the way the government is functioning. And we are putting pressure on the government because it is a communist government, not to indulge in such ways. We have to give space for the protesters to protest, and that is how democracy will function in a place.
So you're saying there should be some kind of a way to let off. Father Eugene, I'm coming to the political aspect of this. You have been working with the coastal communities. Has the votes of the LDF been eroded with their action both at Vizhinjam and now what has happened at Muthalapozhi? Because it looks like many of them have lost confidence in the LDF. There was a time when the coastal votes do go to the LDF, but even the existing LDF votary, do you think it has been eroded with these two big incidents?
See, the whole Trivandrum coast, about 79 kilometers, the whole Trivandrum coast is eroding and in turmoil. This year there was no heavy rain or heavy breeze, but most southern part of Kerala, that is Odiyur and Kollangur, this year also they lost houses. And the only road to travel to the other side, that has been eaten up by the sea. And the Tamil Nadu was very prompt that they have protected their 8 villages. After the construction of the Tengapattanam fishing harbour, the 8 villages on the northern side have been eaten up by the sea.
Father, what
And
I was
they
asking
have-
is that when it comes to LDF votary among the fishermen folk, do you think that has I mean, a lot of people will now be against the LDF from the fishing community, especially in Trivandrum area, because of Vizhinjam as well as because of the latest what has happened in Muthalapozhi harbour?
Definitely, people have understood that the government reigning is not with the people, the fishermen. They claim that they are doing all what is. See, that will have implications and impact on definitely the elections coming. Definitely, yes.
So you think that the response to what is happening to you will be reflected in the election, in the coming elections? So what we have latest is the 2024 elections. So do you think in the 2024 elections, the anger of the coastal people will be seen?
See, definitely, it's not only coastal, it is not only the coastal people. People in the environment field, people in the human rights field, people working with the marginalized communities, they are all very much upset about the process which a democratic government is doing. Definitely that will have implications even in the elections. Definitely.
Okay, so 2024 is going to be quite interesting when it comes to the coastal votes then for the LDF. Rahul Ishwar, I'll give you the last words before we close on this. As a person who's been seeing what is happening, I mean, there's a lot of changes and rumblings that are happening. Traditional vote bases are shifting to non-traditional parties, and you know, a lot of churning is happening within Kerala. But right here, has the LDF over the years, as an observer, has they shot themselves in the foot by going against the coastal communities?
See, let me be very honest. I'm an anti-left person. I'm not CPM. But I have respected CPM government over the years because Sri Pinarayi Vijayan has emerged as a very strong leader. I differ with his policies. But at the same point of time, left has had some balancing effect in Kerala. But unfortunately, over the past 2 years or few years, they have lost their edge. People, you know, beyond a political spectrum has become some kind of disillusioned and disappointed with them. And, you know, with the Manipur issue dampening the spirits for BJP, with the left earlier was actively trying to reach out to Christian communities too. It seems Christian community is back to the old UDF fold in a political sense. But there is an angle beyond politics, whether it be Congress, BJP or communists. There are some certain governance maryadas, as we call in Hindi, some manners that everyone has to abide by. I hope even though our CM is a very strong CM, he should be a sensitive CM too. We call him Irattachangulla Mukhyamantri. That basically means he has twice the willpower, or twice the sensitivity of, twice the strength of everyone. But strength, it becomes more beautiful with sensitivity. I hope LDF government, especially CPM, not CPA. CPA has been sensitive over a period of time, but CPM shouldn't be arrogant. That is not good for a communist. That is not good for the whole their vision. I hope they changes, and definitely these are going to get reflected in Kerala elections. Within 1 year, there is going to be strong Lok Sabha elections. There is going to be in 2 or 3 years our assembly election is coming. So naturally, realignment is there. The old UDF formation is going to get stronger if people like Shashi Tharoor are going to come, and Christian community and Muslim community is going to en masse support him too by their own public posturings. Yes, there is a political realignment, but beyond politics, I hope CPM really course corrects, because CPM is one of the largest parties in Kerala with a mass base. It is not right for CPM to get arrogant because there is nobody on the other side. Congress may be weak, but that cannot be an excuse for CPM to get arrogant.
Well, CPM shouldn't get arrogant is what you say, and let's see what is going to happen when it comes to the coastal communities and 2024 elections. Well, thank you, Sebastian Paul, Rahul Ishwar, as well as Father Eugene Pereira for joining us and giving your insight as to this latest tussle between the Latin Church as well as the LDF, and this is the second time that this is happening, especially after the Vizhinjam agitation. We have been tracking the developments in Kerala as well. You can come onto the comment box and give your comments on the story as well. But further on, there is more on News 9 on the other side. With that, it is a wrap from me.
Pakistan is actually genociding Baloch people. So being Baloch is a crime. If you are a Baloch, it means in the eyes of Pakistan, you don't have any right to live.
The Chinese and Pakistanis are colonizing the Baloch and exploiting their resources.
The Baloch armed struggle will continue unless China withdraws, Pakistan military withdraws from Balochistan, and give Baloch complete authority to decide for themselves.
The Baloch feel that if they don't act now, they will become marginalized.
What lies ahead for Balochistan?
Balochistan, Bangladesh 2.0, streaming now.
There is gender disparity as far as the live donation in our country is concerned.
The number of donors, live donors, are, I would say, about 65% would be women. Men as recipients would be about 75 to 80%.
Taking a vital organ from a breadwinner is something which threatens the entire family. I'll sacrifice myself and let he be strong. I'll take all the pain.
Lalu Prasad, the former Bihar Chief